Welcome to the You've Changed podcast. I'm the host, Kate Barron, and I'm here with the amazing, talented writer, actor, right? Comedian, everything, Alex English.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Sorry I'm late.
No, it's okay.
I had
honestly.
to apologize on air.
No, it's all good. This is like literally the most confusing. When I first came to this club, I was like walking around for 40 minutes and I was like, fucking England, I fucking need streets. Because it's like, you know, in the States or in Canada, right? We have blocks. Mm-hmm. So if you go up and you go, oh, fuck, I missed that right. I'll go the next right and I'll be able to catch back. You can't do that here. So all of a sudden you're going around a huge curve and you're in some other area and you're in a roundabout and you're like, what the fuck?
New York spoils you because like everything is grid based.
It's just grid.
Like numbers. So it's really hard to guess why when people tell me like they get lost in New York, I'm like, how? It's like
you can't.
Really easy.
No,
North,
you're
south, east,
a
west,
dumb
1, 2, 3, 4.
Go home. If you can't, it literally goes up in numbers. It's just if you can't count, that's the only way you can get lost.
Only when it starts to go like the Brooklyn way and like things like names and streets. Then that gets confusing. I can see that. But like if you're in Manhattan, come on, it's just simple math.
It's fucking simple. Yes. Oh my God, I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
And you're here on holiday.
Holiday-ish.
Holiday-ish. Holiday adjacent.
Work vacation. Yeah.
Yeah. How's it been? How have you liked it over here?
Really fun. I know we've been talking about it earlier this week, but I've been having such a really cool experience in London. Like I've never been. This is my first big international trip. This is the first time being in England, and like
I love it.
What I've been hearing though from the shows is that everyone in London is like mean and like
what?
Like that's what everybody says.
No, but you're from New York.
Well, yeah, a lot of comics say like, oh no, everybody in London is rude. The comics I've been listening to today, like this week, have been like, oh yeah, fuck off, all of the Londoners, you guys, we're all mean and miserable. But I guess since I'm like the new kid in school,
everyone's like,
yeah, and I was told that like.
I don't think people are mean
because I smile, like my American like happiness and my American joy, like kind of people can sense it here. They're like, oh, you're not from here.
Yeah,
you're too happy.
Yes, you can definitely feel the vibe. But also, when I saw you on stage, I was like, one, who is this fantastic comedian? But also, I just love because I'm not American, I'm Canadian, but like it's very similar, the vibe. And so whenever I see a North American comic here, I'm always like, just feels like home a little bit,
I was I was a little intimidated in the beginning because I just wasn't sure. I was a little insecure because
I get that.
My thought was, okay, I get on stage and hopefully these people don't think I'm some type of idiot. You know what I mean?
No.
But the impression that everybody gave me was that it was like, they actually love American stand-up. I didn't know that. I thought they hated us.
No, I think the joke is like, we love to hate on Americans because it's so easy, right? It's a fucking easy punchline to shit on Americans, but London is such an international city. I almost don't know anyone other than like my boyfriend who was born and raised in London. Most people live here, but they're from all over the place.
Yeah.
And so I think the London crowds are really savvy to like having international. This is where like everyone internationally tours as well. London is a city that everyone's gonna hit, right?
Yeah.
So I think that it's very international. However, if you got on a train, went up north a bit, it might not be the same case.
Oh yeah.
I've done some gigs up north, and I'm like, even I'm as like a white straight lady, I'm like, oh god. I think they just hear like, why is this woman speaking?
Yeah, I thought living because I'm from Detroit, Michigan, so like I thought New York would be like the pinnacle of like my exposure to like people from all other walks of life all across the globe, but nothing compared. It's been a really big culture shock meeting. Like meeting people. I've met people from like South Africa, Ireland, just like Japan. I'm like, I truly underestimated how much international the culture here is like steeped in like people from all over the globe.
Yeah.
New York has that, but it's still very American.
I guess so. I think New York is like where a lot of Americans go. Who have dreams.
Yeah.
They don't want to join they don't want to join the army or whatever in the fucking States.
That's true.
Then they're like, yes, let's go to New York. And then other people go there. Whereas London is just, it really is. And because we're just so close to Europe, and it's like the travel within Europe is so fucking cheap. Have you seen, like, are you aware of how cheap it is to travel within Europe?
Yes.
Like you could go to Dublin for like £18.
Yeah, along with other drinking here is really cheap.
Yeah.
I was like caught off guard.
Yeah.
By they also don't give you as much. The portion size here is far different when it comes to alcohol.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, oh, no wonder. I'm like, I haven't really been drunk this whole trip because here they They really don't. They're stingy a little bit here.
Yeah, they're measuring.
They're measuring. They do
here.
measure. Yeah, which I guess is the responsible thing to do.
Yeah, blah blah whatever. Blah boring. But the first time one of the first times I ever went to New York, because I've been like a bunch of times. I have some friends who live there, but I remember going there, and it was one of the first times I'd ever been like properly drinking in New York. And I went to this bar, and I was like, oh, could I get like a double? Because I always order a double because I want fucking booze in my drink, right? Exactly. I want like a double vodka soda. So I go, and the guy's like, I don't know what you mean. I'm like, I want a double. He's like, there will be no room for the mix if I give you a double. And then he's like, let me just show you. And he does my drink, and it's like this tall, this much is fucking vodka already. And I was like, the fuck? And then he's like, $5. And I was like, I love this guy. God bless America. I get it. I get the hype. I'm waving the fucking flag.
Yeah. We don't. We are not people who like portion sizes.
Oh, we fucking know that.
Yeah. Oh, Super Size Me.
Super Size Me is real in the States.
Real. Yeah.
What was growing up in Detroit like?
I think it was like your typical kind of like
Were you
Midwestern.
like suburbs?
No, more. It was in like Detroit is like inner city, but there is a class kind of system with it because it's predominantly a Black African American town.
Yeah,
but like I always tell people like. It is. Detroit is currently going through like a phase of some kind of gentrification, but it's very specific to like certain areas. It's so like the population, like the African American population, is so strong and dense that you're never really gonna push that community out.
I mean, good
too far. It's a very strong community. So like, and the thing about Detroit, like your front yard could be the front of your house could like look glamorous, but the backyard is like trash. Like the neighborhoods are so
different. That's like me.
Different.
From the front, I look good. Don't fucking check me from the back. I'm a hot mess back there. So I need the camera here.
It's like it's a mix of like I grew up pretty like I would say somewhere in like the lower middle.
Yeah, same.
I didn't really have it too bad. You know, my family is made up of people from all sorts of like economic standpoints. So I had a pretty average,
just like an average kind of
upbringing. Yeah, I grew up with my mom. My dad was in prison, but then he got out. But I was like, you know, already kind of like a teenager.
Yeah,
dad. Typical education, state college, blah blah. Kind of boring.
Yeah. What's your mom think of you doing stand up?
Now that it has materialized into you know a life for myself. She now has just recently stopped telling me to go back to school. God. So I'm, you know, she had to actually. She's one of those parents. Just though, you know, she wanted me to be safe and have everything. You know,
of course.
She wanted me to be able to take care of myself. So when I started doing stand up, she couldn't really see it because she always encouraged me, but she was just like.
You need stability.
Yeah. You have this college degree.
Mom thing. She wants you to be okay.
Like, I think I did what everybody wanted me to do in the beginning. Like
What were you doing? What kind
go to college, do that. And
what'd you get your degree in?
Communication, what everybody else does. Nothing.
Just bullshit. Yeah, like an arts bullshit degree.
I sometimes forget what the fuck I majored in, honestly, because I don't even know how I managed to make it out of college because I did so much like
Michigan State,
Central Michigan, and I did so much like. I did the partying. Central Michigan is a party school, so like you know.
I mean, most American colleges are fucking party schools, like for real.
So I just whenever I think about like student loan forgiveness, like that's a big topic in America right now, and I'm like, y'all listen. If you look at how irresponsible I was during school, you think y'all getting that money back?
But like you're pushing fucking 18, 17-year-old kids to make a decision and you're going, here's a fuck ton of money. You have no idea what you want to do. I was a piece of shit at that age. I had no idea. Same. And I was expending all my student loan money and it is so brutal to do that.
Fortunately for me, I because I had some it was called the Michigan Promise Scholarship. And it was if you had a certain
Sounds like
GPA,
you're very fancy.
Well, not really, because you just had to keep your GPA at a certain a 3-point or something really easy for me, and then you had to go stay in school in Michigan. So I was like, okay, well, this would be the cheaper way to do it, and they would cover your tuition for the 4 years.
Shit.
But I'm an idiot and stayed in school for an extra year, so the money I do owe is for an entire year worth of tuition.
But it's not for 4 years. You know, it's not for the whole thing.
It's not for the whole thing.
Good.
Yeah, but I still have managed to not even think about it. I'm like,
fuck.
I'm sure the debt I owe is far more than we would have been because my dumbass forgot to pay.
No, I left Canada. I was like, keep my loan. I'm gonna move countries. We'll just deal with it when I deal with my Canadian bank account. Well, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah. So I just did what everybody told me to do until I didn't have to anymore.
Did you always want to do comedy?
It was something that always lived in my mind. Like, I remember, like, growing up, like, my family would watch, like, Def Jam and, like, the Kings of Comedy and the Queens of Comedy. And, like, my mom and my uncles and aunts, like, they would all gather together and watch comedy together. Like, they would all like go to my grandmother's house and they would all sit around, and like me and all of my cousins they would make us go into like another room, and
cause
we couldn't
not appropriate.
But I'd be the only kid kind of really interested in what the adults were laughing at, so I like would be peering around the corner, kind of listening to the jokes and kind of not understanding what the bits were, but like knowing that this is what it brought my family together, and they were all like gathered together to watch a special on television. So I always had that in my mind and in my heart, but like never, like, Detroit is one of them places that no one's really telling you, oh, you're gonna be an actor, comedian. If anything, it's like if you say if you're a kid trying to tell a joke, it's like you're talking back and you're being bad, like a bad kid. So
that's
like,
what I always got,
quiet.
the bad kid label too. And all my friends' parents fucking hated me because they thought I was just this little like sassy bitch, like mouthy kid. And then like I would try to snap back at my family, and then my mom would be like, "Are you on drugs?" And I'm like, "No, you're really annoying. I'm not on drugs. You're just annoying."
So I just, I was always just a kid that like got the attention of everybody, like even in school, like
class clown.
I wasn't even really like a class clown. I just was like someone that all of like I was a floater in high school. Like I didn't really stick with. I didn't have like a crowd that I belonged to. I just like was outwardly like expressive to everybody. The jocks, the geeks, the popular girls, the not so popular girls. I was kind of just like everybody had this obsession with wanting to tell me everybody else's business. So like my thing is like everybody would come to me and say,
"You're the secret
Alex,"
keeper.
Basically, everybody would be like, "Alex, I gotta tell you something. I'm about to tell you a secret, but don't tell nobody because I know you talk to everybody." That was what everybody would say to me, and I'm like, God. I don't know how.
Give me a good secret from high school.
Man, I can't remember. That was the thing. People would unload on me,
and then you just
and
forget it.
Like, I don't know how y'all would expect me to tell somebody all this shit because y'all keep telling me everything. Like I truly had like everybody's information, everybody's tea. I was the tea keeper.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
But I guess people just
the tea keeper. I guess
people just trusted me to like not blab, but I'm like, hell, I can't remember enough to blab.
Oh my God. Do you have anyone coming out of the woodwork like from high school who were like, who you weren't even close with, but they're like, "I always knew you were gonna make it," or anything like that? I have that.
Not really. I
Not like I've made it, but people come out and they're like, "Oh, I always knew you were going to do something." And I was like, "You called me a fat bitch in high school. You said I was a fucking loser."
Yeah, I really didn't suffer from too much bullying. I mean, if anything, people who tried to bully me never really stood a chance because I would like come back. You know?
If
anything,
you can talk.
Well, I was always kind of, see, I do have a mouth. I did have like a smart mouth with people, and I was also significantly smaller than a lot of people too. So that would get me kind of in like, if you got something to say to me, I'm gonna say something right back to you, and it's gonna be worse. But then it'll turn into like a physical altercation because for them they can't use their words and they can't fight. So it would turn into that.
So would you fight physically?
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Listen. I used to really be a scrappy kid. And I had to eventually let that go because I had got into one too many fights, and I
can't even picture you fighting with somebody.
Well, because of just how much I like go back and forth with people, I had to get punched in my face one time. And like, full transparency, I was like, well, how old? I was like 19, 20 years old. I was at a gay club in Detroit. Had a altercation with an ex-boyfriend who was friends with a trans woman, and I'm not gonna repeat what I said to her because I don't even agree with what I said back then. But just know that I deserve to get punched in it. And that was the first time I ever got punched in the face. It was directly in my eye. And I was like, maybe I should change.
Which brings us to a good segue. Yes, maybe getting punched in the fucking face.
Getting punched in the face changed my life. It really did.
So is this what we're going to talk about? Is this, or
I had no plans, honestly. This is just where it ended up.
That's so funny. So we can talk about
we
that.
We can talk about that.
But so like it's kind of anything of like, it doesn't need to be huge. It doesn't need to be a big thing. It can be small, but something that sort of changed your path in your life. So do you think it was getting punched
That was a
in the
pivotal
face?
swing, no pun intended. Yeah, that was a swing. Just because, like I said, like I used to be someone, especially when I was younger, who just kind of like popped off and whatever. And so, you learn early, especially with an experience like that you just can't do that to everybody.
No.
Because like having an argument with someone and then getting into a physical fight is one thing, but when you clearly are in the wrong. It's
Did you know it when the
situation.
punch was coming towards you? Were you like, I fucked up, like I was a dickhead, or were you like, fuck that, and then you've reflected since?
There you go.
Going,
the latter.
I deserve that.
The latter.
Okay. In the moment, you probably
in the moment I was still like, fuck that. I want to take it back to everybody's head. I think as time progressed and I matured a little bit, and I was like, and I didn't want that to happen to me again.
I can't even imagine what it's like to get punched in the face. Like.
It's life altering. Yeah.
That would be jarring.
But I did think about it too, because this was right around the time when I was getting ready to like graduate college and like transition out into adulthood, and especially moving to New York, such a bigger, more major city than Detroit, and like moving out on
And that was always the plan after college?
Not really. No, it wasn't. I had to really like, leaving college and then moving back in with my family was just such a tense moment in my life that I was like, oh, I gotta get out of here.
I feel you.
When I found the window of opportunity to go to New York, I took it immediately. And on top of like, that reflection, like that bus ride, like that reflection, I was like, I have to be responsible with my words. I have to be more mindful, and I have to absolutely grow up, because New York will chew you up and spit you right back out if you don't get your shit together. So that, getting into that altercation with that person I was like, I have to figure out a way to channel my energy so that it's more, anything that I have to say. That's why comedy really kind of came into my mind. Where I'm like, how do I want to express myself that will keep me out of trouble?
But you can talk shit still.
But I can talk shit.
But there's like a...
But there's a wall.
There's a wall. Not for Chris Rock,
me.
but like...
Well, hey, that wall's been broken,
Fucking hell. But have you ever had someone come at you on stage or try to fight you after? No. I've had people be rude to me after and come up to me and kind of in my face for like, when they heckle and you heckle back, but we can destroy them because we're like, this is what we do.
Exactly.
And then you go to a point where you're kind of like, don't make me go here, and they make you go there, and then they come up and go, that was really mean, actually.
No, I haven't experienced that yet. Knock on wood. Hopefully, don't have to. But
I'll slide into your DMs and like, you piece of shit.
Exactly. I haven't yet. No.
Okay. Do you like confrontation, or do you back away from it now?
I used to.
You seem like you like it a little bit. You're a little bit like.
There's still that kid in me that's still like, and I'm sure my friends would if my two best friends were here, they'd say he absolutely loves to. But I argue with them. That's different than arguing with other people.
That's different arguing with your friends and stuff.
Friends, but, I give them shit, but like, I don't walk away from confrontation. I address things,
but you're not trying to seek it out.
If it's really important. A lot of things also really are never really that deep to me. I brush things off more now. That just came with age. I used to definitely used to be more fiery and willing to go there. If you ask my mom, she's like, she thought I was gonna be a lawyer because I just always had something to say back. I could never just let things go. I used to have to always be right. And I think that's the mark of a lot of comedians, though, don't you think?
Of course, we're all like fucked up and narcissistic, and we're like, this is my opinion, this is the real opinion.
And don't talk back.
Don't talk back.
Let it be.
I remember when I started comedy, I met this comic, and I was like, because they were telling me how they were really introverted. And I was like, how can you be introverted? And I couldn't really get it because I'm pretty extroverted, but I was like, how could you be introverted and doing comedy? And they're like, well, comedy isn't having a conversation with people, it's talking at people, and then you walk away. And I was like, yeah, that is true.
And I was just talking about this with the comic last night at Top Secret, where like it can be a little tricky navigating conversations with people who see you at the show, because like, most times I would prefer if it were just like, hi, you were so funny. Thank you.
Bye.
And then we're done.
Yes. Yeah.
So I do become a little the switch kind of goes because you're thinking about the set you just did. And, like you're in your mouth. And so I don't necessarily, but then some of these people really want to like dig in, and
like, I want to be friends. We could be actual friends. And you're like, bitch, I would never fucking go near you in public.
I just want to entertain. And kind of go into my shell and
my God.
Away. But I still I don't know. I have my introverted moments.
Yeah, well, we need to recharge as extroverts.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's just like most humans.
Yeah. You can't always be around people.
Yeah.
I feel like,
but I've always been very social.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you strike me as that too. But like, I feel like with confrontation for me, I don't like it for myself. So I avoid it when it's something about me. But if we were hanging out and someone was fucking rude to you, I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
And I will not let that stand.
When it comes to people I care about, I definitely
I'll stand up for other people more than I would for myself.
Other people. That I'm more in tune with that also.
Yeah.
And also I get really uncomfortable when other people are arguing with each other.
Oh, same.
I tend to like get really like stressed out when people like when people are having them. I'm like, especially people that I know are arguing.
Super
I just
fucking
get
uncomfortable.
really like, what am I?
When there's like a couple and you're just like, the third person
and
watching them fight.
like, what am I? How do I? Because there's a feeling of I should do something about this, but then also mind your business.
And it's just messy and like messy. Mind your business. It's just like
so when it comes to confrontation, other people's confrontation, kind of stresses me out a little bit. But when it comes to standing up for others, I will do that before. I mean, I do it for one time. One time I was in a club. I was in a bar in New York, and this guy like it was very crowded, so everybody's kind of like shoulder to shoulder, hard to get through.
Typical,
this guy just this really bitchy twink white guy just like assumes he can just like push through people, and he pushed me, and other people were like pushed also, but everybody kind of just allowed him to do it. I ran, I found him, and I like turned, I was like, hey, what was that about? And like the way I never felt stronger in my life.
I was love that.
And then I saw everybody else kind of look at me. I was like, y'all wasn't gonna say nothing? Because he just pushed all of us.
Yeah.
And he like,
some people need to be called out.
He backed down immediately. He's like, oh no, I'm sorry. His friend all got scared because I'm like, I'm just like this big scary black man.
That is not how I would describe you, but sure.
Yeah. In that moment, I felt like it, and I was okay. I was okay with that because I was like, what you not gonna do is this.
No, but some people need to be fucking called out for that kind of behavior because they do think they can just get away with shit.
What are you doing? Yeah.
And those like small injustices, I sometimes feel like Larry David being like, you need to call out the small injustices of the world. And like I saw someone, like when you're talking about being uncomfortable seeing other people fight, I saw somebody fighting like these friends, and they were being like, one was being so mean to the other, and it was just like a piling on, and the other person was just kind of sitting there taking it. And I just had to be like, imagine thinking it is okay to speak to somebody like that. And they were so embarrassed.
The unmitigated gall.
And I was like, I can't believe you think that's okay to say out loud. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, explain how you think this is okay to do, one, in public, and two, just to do to someone who's clearly not even coming back at you. But if that was me, like I hate confrontation so much. I once lived in a flat. For the first 2 months, I took cold showers, and then the landlord was like, who I was living with, was my flatmate, was like, oh, have I told you how to work the hot water? Like how you just click it on and then it gives, and I was like, oh no. But I was just
you
like,
would have never said anything.
I was just like, I didn't want to like cause a thing because I was getting a good deal on the rent, and I didn't want them to be like, you want hot showers, you piece of shit.
No,
like,
you just take whatever you can get. No, speak up. Yeah.
But I always thought, I was like, yes, I like confrontation, but I like being kind of like, and maybe this is like my white savior syndrome, but like I like standing up on behalf of other people, but not for myself. I don't know what that is.
Huh.
Is that weird? I don't know.
I mean, I think it's normal. I don't know that it's weird because I think a lot of people could identify. I can empathize with that.
Or like you see it from the outside, whereas when you're in it yourself and you start getting all like hot and bothered, and then when you walk away, you go, I fucking should have said that. I should have said that.
That's what that's the worst. Working on. I would like to be more like that. I mean, honestly, I'm trying to revert a little bit back to the way I was, just less volatile. Like I used to be someone who, would say exactly what I was thinking. If you bothered me, if you pissed me off, I would like go there. But I think now as I've gotten older, I'm a little less prone to anger and a little bit less prone to shouting and like being, I just like, maybe it's also weed because I smoke weed. So I'm just a little bit more
chills
chill.
You out a little bit.
I'm a little more chill in my older age, but like now I kind of want to revert back to a place of speak up and, and don't be afraid of someone not loving that you spoke up for yourself.
Yeah.
Because anybody else would do the same thing.
And like someone who's not going to love that you speak up for yourself, you really want the person giving a shit about you anyway.
Right,
like,
exactly. And I actually hate the feeling of, like you were saying just now, like the regret of like, should have said that to that person. Because I've had plenty of moments like that, especially in comedy.
Like when you're in the shower and you're just like, fuck I should have said that.
If I just laid down the law, I wouldn't have been thinking about it now if I would have just said it. So yeah, I think I would actually love to kind of revert a little bit, halfway, not fully, not go full.
So
young
your
Alex.
change is that you're less aggressive or less volatile. But when you are confrontational, you're more selective and careful with how you are confrontational.
Careful. I think I'm very careful.
That is an age thing, I think. I think that's just a maturity. As we all get older, we go like, is this battle worth it?
Is it worth it?
Do I actually give enough of a shit about this person to get into this?
And when you ask yourself that question, usually the answer is I don't.
Yo, I don't. Right? You go like, I actually don't give a shit about a lot of people.
A lot of people, a lot of things.
I had this whole like need to be liked forever. I needed everyone to like me. I needed everyone to like me. I think it's just because I was like a fat kid and I grew up as like, I was just always a fat girl and I just needed to be like, I need everyone to like me and I need to be the funny one and I need to be friends with everyone and joke around because if people don't like me, then I'm just like the gross fat girl off in the corner. And then now, as I get older, I'm like, I don't need everyone to like me. I don't want everyone to like me. Like, I just want...
And I mean, there's something suspicious about someone who's liked by everyone.
Because it's like there's a fakeness to it, right?
There's a fakeness to it. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. I never thought that somebody who's adored by everyone is just like...
It's really suspicious. I mean,
it's suspicious. I love that.
I don't have... that I know of any enemies outright.
Well, I fucking hate you.
But I don't, again, even though I say that it's suspicious for, people, it's like someone could look at me that way because, like, especially like in the New York comedy scene, like, I get along with virtually everybody, but I think that's just because like I mind myself and not others, and I don't really get into the details of other people's stuff. I listen to the gossip and I listen to the drama, but I don't consume it. I just kind of let it be.
Same.
I just do my job.
I want to hear it.
I want to hear it.
But I don't want to be involved in it, and I don't want to offer an opinion on it.
Don't put me in it. Don't put me in it. Because we're all adults, and it's just like, especially like the comedy scene, it can be very catty, cutthroat, but it doesn't really have to be,
But do you think that comes, because I sort of think that comes with reaching a certain level in your comedy. So when you start to become more of a professional comic, you realize that the people who get to be that level, who then you start gigging with and you're working with professionally, they're there to do a job. Yeah. And you go, now we're colleagues, we're professionals doing a job. When you're at the lower level and you're scrapping, you're hustling for spots, and you're doing all this stuff, there's more time to sit around and fucking
worry
talk
about
shit
the next person.
And worry and think like, oh, that person's getting that, so that took that opportunity away from me, rather than being like, we're all professionals doing our thing.
But then you think about it and it's just like, come on, man, people got families to feed, people got mortgages, people got student loans to pay, people
just have shit that you have no idea what they're dealing with. Like, we've all gone on stage. I'm sure you've had a day, and I've had days where I've gotten like awful news, and then you have to go on stage and make people laugh and be funny, and you're just like, fuck me. Like, I was with a comic and we were on tour, and he got a call that his mom died, and he didn't know what to do because he was like the headliner of the tour, and he was on all the posters, and this was like on a break, and he had to go up in 20 minutes. Yeah. And he was able to just like compartmentalize and do it. And I've had to do that before with bad news and shit. And you just, because you have to just be the professional and carry on. And I think you just don't know what other people are fucking going through. And I have a lot more empathy for that as I've gotten older.
I feel the same exact way. And I try to be mindful, of like others. Like, cause I know it's about being honest with yourself too. Cause when you wake up and you're not feeling the best, and you're like, this is, life sucks and I'm kind of depressed or whatever. Don't go into the world expecting everybody else to feel,
or like coddle you, like, oh,
exactly. So I have more patience now than I did maybe like 5 to 6 years ago even.
I'm fucking every day I'm learning. Like, even, so my dad got cancer. He's all good now, but he did get lung cancer. And I remember telling people, and because I'm like not a child, I was like, oh yeah, my dad has cancer. And I thought people's reaction was gonna be like, oh my God, like, are you okay? Like, most of them would go, yep, well, that's what's gonna happen as you get older. Your parents are gonna get sick and die. And I was like, people's reaction was so brutal. But then to me, I was like, I remember people telling me as like they were adults and they're going, yeah, my parents are getting a divorce. And they were all upset about it. I'm like, grow up. Yeah. You're fucking life. 35 years old and your parents are getting a divorce. You're not gonna have to be like, whose house am I gonna do Christmas at? Is it my fault? Do they not love me? Yes, it is your fault, you piece of shit. Like that, but that that was like in the last year. Then people were like, well, people are gonna die. Parents are gonna get cancer. And I was just like, fucking hell, everyone. So even I'm still like, I mean, growth and change is inevitable, right? We're just constantly.
If I had to look at who I was like when I got started doing stand up and maybe just a couple years before that, I'm like, there's no way. Like I'd cry watching myself kind of try to maneuver through life. And so like I'm really happy that like, you know, I'm looking forward actually to how I change, you know, by the time I'm 40, like in the next like 5 years. I'm sure I'll have a different mindset.
Hopefully, like,
but it's just scary.
That's good.
It's just like, it's scary not knowing like what will happen, because like it's just what makes you change are those life experiences, like getting punched in the face.
Yeah. Do you want me to punch you in the face right now? To, like,
hey, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I just like uprooting your life, like going into a new city, go into a new country. Like I think this experience this week that I've, you know, is gonna kind of alter my my worldview.
Traveling is the best for that.
Yeah, I just have a brand new perspective that I knew, like, because before, like, I had 2 weeks off from work, and I knew the first week off, I'm like, I have got to get out of New York City. But see, I was like, where do I want to go? I'm like, okay.
Did you come by yourself?
Yeah, and I was like, do I want to go to Miami? Oh God, do I want to do Miami again?
Because then it's just like a party scene, right?
Party and just like hot weather and fine. It's relaxation, but I'm like, it's so basic. Like I really wanted to give myself. I was starting to feel kind of empty. I will say, before I came out here, I was kind of just like, what is my life? It's a little bit routine. I'm like, I know like the bees, I'm just kind of in this apartment. I want a new experience. So I think this trip has really kind of altered. I'm gonna get on the plane with like a fresh mind. Just in all I did all week was just walk around and do comedy.
but when you're in a new place,
new environment,
I love that. And then you can be sort of like, you do get an opportunity in a new place to not totally reinvent yourself, but you kind of get to be the person you want to be. Where sometimes, and I don't know if you find this when you go back home to Michigan, I find it when I go back home to Vancouver, where like you fall into old habits and people know you as like, oh, that's Alex, he's so and so. Whereas you're like, I'm so much more than that now. I've grown so much, but people still see you as.
I'm more observant now too than ever before. Like, I mean, I know we're on this podcast talking, so of course it's chatty, but I'm trying to. One thing I am trying to change is I do want to speak less. When I'm not,
I've never heard a comedian say
when I'm not on stage. I've been thinking about it, and it's like I want one thing I do want to. I don't want to change who I am and my character and my outspokenness and my vibrance. You know, I don't want to change
my vibrance.
I don't want to change.
I
don't want to turn that down.
Yeah, of
course. I definitely want, like, I find something very cool about people who can kind of like sit in a room and kind of just like kind of wait and be seen, you know. And kind
there
of
is like a quiet confidence.
And I kind of want to establish more of that with myself, because often, like, when I've practiced it sometimes, like in certain party situations and like, you know, in social scenes, and like I've practiced it, and I'll notice when people are really on, and I'm like, oh, I wonder why he feels like he has to do that.
Right, it's like an insecurity. It is an insecurity.
So I often find like myself, if I get real amped up and like, and everybody, I got everybody eating out of my hands, I'm like, oh. I look crazy?
Oh my God. No, I'm the same. I feel the same. I remember,
a little insecure.
I remember watching this Jim Carrey documentary, and he was talking about how when he goes out to a party, and I feel this, and I feel like we're similar in this, where he'd be like wanting to go out and just have like a chill night, and then he just starts Jim Carrey, right? And he becomes the character. He becomes what everyone wants him to be, and then he goes home and he's like, fuck. And I do that too, right? You're a clown for other people, and you just go like, fuck, it's exhausting. And I think a lot of like very intelligent people are just sort of quietly confident. And I remember hearing this thing, I think it was like a TikTok. I try to be all like philosophical. It was a fucking TikTok
That's where everybody's getting information now.
Whatever.
So you're fine.
That's where I get everything. Yeah. And somebody was just saying, rich people scream about it, wealthy people whisper.
Wealth whispers.
Wealth whispers. And that's the same, I think, with like intelligence and stuff. Like if you feel like you have to be like, blah, 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 blah. It's like the men who were listening to like the Joe Rogans, what's the fucking Andrew Tate guy, all that shit, who have to scream about like, I am a man, I am masculine. You go,
what are you hiding?
Yeah, what are you hiding? It's like people who were like super overtly homophobic. You go like, sounds like someone likes a penis in their bum.
A lot of my exes,
yeah, exactly. Like it's such a classic. Every fucking congressman in America,
exactly,
who like hates gay people is like actually super closeted. And it's like when you're you overcompensate. I see it now as like not strength. I see it much more as insecurity. So I like that whole that you want to change, like you want to be.
I want to practice quieter, and it's getting. You hear more too.
Yeah, of course.
You just like when you know, and I just want to live like. I want to be more present. So that's something that I hope I find.
And as a
later.
writer and as a comedian, and like, it's just going to be great for your material, because the more you can observe other people, it's so rich for other people's material. Like, comedy really does write itself with like just the everyday bullshit people are doing and the shit people are talking. And if we just sit there sort of as observers, absorbing it.
Not just observing, but like taking it
you can't be like,
go in one ear out the other. Yeah. Well, certain things you can let go in one out the other, because a lot of people say bullshit. So
there's a lot of people who like, the people who they talk a lot but they don't say anything.
Nothing at all.
And
sometimes I kind of feel like that's me. Sometimes, especially when I have like conversations with people that I feel are like smarter than I am, I'm like, oh man, I'm really showing my hand right now. But if I say another word, they're gonna know that I am a fucking idiot.
Right, and you're off in the bathroom like Wikipediaing the topic, and you're like, fucking, okay, let's talk about the board. They're like, we've moved on. We've moved on. We're talking about something else.
But you know what I found is that I think that that's something that we tell ourselves, though.
Of course.
I desperately trying to like not be as insecure as I can be with my thoughts, and like, no, Alex, you have something to say. And, you can hold in a conversation.
You got to back yourself.
Dominate. You have to maintain that. So I try to speak positively of myself while also being humble.
Good.
Be also being humble and don't rest. Don't get too confident.
Yeah.
But like,
do you look in the mirror? Is it like Issa Rae when she raps herself and she's like, you got this, you got this? I love that.
If someone could see me in my apartment by myself, kind of like going through my day, I'm usually like, okay, Alex, don't fuck up today. But I usually start my day saying, don't fuck up today.
Yeah, you also got to give yourself props though, because like you're now a writer for Saturday Night Live. Yeah. You've gotten some incredible stuff that like people would like kill for. And could you imagine when you started out to go, I'm a fucking writer for SNL?
My imposter syndrome was through the fucking roof.
But everyone's is. And I think people need to stop and go like, I'm here for a reason. I was selected for a reason. I deserve what I'm getting. And you have to back yourself in those moments. But it's really fucking hard.
It's those feelings. But you know what it is? Like, I try not to dwell on. I let like allowing the feelings to happen is healthy.
Acknowledge.
But don't stay on it. I use those feelings like I as much as I talk. If I talk against myself, I will just as quickly say no. That's not true.
Good.
I use it to motivate myself in most cases. Sure, I'm down. I never allow myself. I allow myself to feel. I never allow myself to stay in that feeling.
That's good. Because also thoughts aren't facts, and like those feelings aren't always facts, and you have to go like, okay, I feel like shit about myself, but for what? Like, I'm feeling whatever, and you go, but why is this the truth? And it's often just not the truth.
And these are new feelings because I'm in this new space in life. So, and that's what's like part of the change, right? It's with new experiences, may come not just positive feelings, but also new negative feelings that you've never felt about yourself.
Because your more self-reflection will bring that up on, right?
And that's that's what makes growing up so fucking uncomfortable, and adulthood so fucking uncomfortable. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? But I find comfort. I do find comfort in knowing that everybody else feels the exact same way.
And those who don't are fucking batshit crazy.
No one knows what the fuck they're doing. Everybody's out here freestyling. We have no idea what we're doing.
We're just raw dogging life out here.
We really are. We
are just like hot messes out here.
I think once you come to that place.
Let me ask you my last question.
Yes.
What is something in your life? So we've talked a lot about change. You seem like you're really going through a lot, and you're really open to it, which I just love because I've like gone through loads and loads of change in my life. But what is something in your life you hope never changes?
Oh wow, that's a question. Okay, how do I quickly answer this? Something that I hope doesn't change about me, or
it can be about anything. It can be. I had a guest say McDonald's because
really?
she travels around the world and she finds comfort in McDonald's.
I got it. My best friends. Finding friends as an adult, we all know is like it's really difficult making friends with people. And I have a lot of different friends. I have a large, like comedians, non-comedians. I've met some really cool people, but I have two of what I believe to be the very best friends I think I'm ever gonna make. And I really
ride or die.
Ride or die. And I don't think I'll ever meet anyone else to feel to provide for me emotionally, what these two guys have done for me I think that's what I hope stays in my life.
So even when you're like massive, famous at the Oscars and everything, they're gonna be by your side.
I or even if I don't, I think I just have that friendship has really sustained me, and like I even when I got to New York, I was trying to find friends, and they'll know our goals don't align, and you kind of have your life is a mess in a way that mine is not. I found these two gentlemen, and they are like perfect friends for me.
What are their names?
Gary and Devin.
Shout out Gary and Devin.
Also, both comics, yeah.
Do you tell them that you love them and that you care for them this much and that you like have love for each other? Oh, that's good.
And I just like, I value.
Sometimes people don't do that.
And I value them, in a way that I haven't ever with like certain friends. And I have other friends that I'm very close with from childhood and from like college and stuff. But these two, like, truly, I feel like I have found like two brothers. Like,
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you for talking.
You're just amazing. This was like, I feel like this went by in 5 seconds because it was, Anyway, you're just wonderful. Yeah. Alex English, follow him everywhere. I'll tag over all your social media and everything. Is there anything particular you want to promote or anything?
No.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye. There we go.
Are they outside right